Hi, Gwendolyn, Adria. So, sort of a milestone. Yesterday, I'm filming this on Sunday, I submitted to Bricolage for the first time in, well, okay, so there were 2 years where I didn't because I was working on it, and now I'm a submitter again. Full circle. At the end of my freshman year, when I was just starting to kind of make friends and come out of my shell and stop being anxious. I was anxious all the time anyways, but like stop being like 10 out of 10 anxious all the time. I went to the Bricolage release party. I hadn't really heard about it until English major orientation that spring. And it was too late to submit and it was too late to read. But I went to that launch party and they're like, we're looking for staff. We need to hire everyone. And so I went up and I talked to them and I was like, I'll do whatever. And then I don't think I didn't even get an interview or anything. They never got back to me. I had no job experience or any experience. So it's not surprising. I remember that next year I wanted to be a reader, but I didn't know how. And it turns out people in our class were reading, and like I remember Ariel like talking to you, Gwendolyn, in our short story class and being like, who wants to read? And I was always like, or maybe I wasn't, maybe I didn't totally, I think by the time I jumped on it was too late. Anyways, so I didn't read that year. I submitted, and then the next year I was on the staff. And I remember Gwendolyn, you, me, and Ryan would be in the poetry reviewer meetings, like, and I would feel kind of bad because we were obviously having a lot of fun and liked each other and knew each other really well. And Adria, you got rad stuff in. I think that was the year you got your Starbucks haiku in. And then last year, like, you both got stuff in. Life was really good. And it's just kind of cool that this thing that's been a focal point for our friend group, because there was Ride Away, and especially once I started working at Bricolage, like, you would all come out for the events and you all submitted. And I remember even before I was working there, like, there's a picture of me and Jeff at the release party for the one the year before I started working on it. Anyways, I'm babbling. I hope you guys submitted too. Congratulations, Gwendolyn. I can't wait to hear from you first person in the next video. I'm trying not to talk about it because I feel like that would be, I don't know what's going on. I want to hear more about it first. Adria, I hope you're feeling better. I just realized I'm getting to the like introduction stuff now, a ways into the video. Oh well. But it was something I wanted to talk about, the concept of bricolage. Because bricolage means like putting a lot of stuff together, just like what you have, and seeing what can come of it in really interesting ways. And I don't know, I think our friend group kind of became experts in that because we would go to Right Away, and often, like, sometimes people would have really cool prompts prepared, and then everyone would have to kind of bricolage out of whatever, to make something and respond to it. And like some people, Gwendolyn, would have these cool projects they're working on, and so you have everyone like kind of scrambling, and then you also get this little taste of this serial thing that you're watching develop, and there's this like comforting thread floating through as like, I feel like both of you are a really good model of like working on something and having sustained projects. And like, I don't know, I just feel like our friend group, because we were so much in Right Away and in classes where we had like assignment for creative writing, it's really nice to see that you guys have been able to stick with things and to really develop those and nurture those ideas. And I don't know, that it doesn't always have to be flash fire. It doesn't always have to be like you do something and then it's done. Like, you can keep working on things. And another thing that I've been thinking about is, from what I can remember in my limited French class, is that faire du bricolage meant like puttering around the house and fixing things and doing chores. I've always liked that. I think one thing that really struck me about your video where you were cutting the pattern paper, Gwendolyn, is it's just so comforting to be doing or to watch people doing or be around people doing just little like physical tasks, discrete physical tasks. And I remember my dad telling me about this guy, like some scholar, I think like a theoretical physicist or something, where all of the work was on paper, very abstract. And every day he had this pile of rocks out in his yard, this like pyramid of big heavy rocks. And every day he would move them from one part of the yard to another part of the yard. And it would just be this thing where it was physical and it was tangible and it was tactile and you could watch that happen. And I feel like maybe I've talked about this before. Anyways, I don't know. I think it's funny that this term bricolage is in with all of those things. Like it's tied for me to this like really sustained community and also to this kind of patchwork sense and artistically, but also, I don't know, I feel like I'm just my most like sane and centered and happy when I can have that mix of feeling like I'm doing long-term meaningful things and these kind of discrete grounding tasks like crocheting or doing the dishes or like changing a light bulb, and then have those very like solid, like not necessarily glamorous or fancy or like look at this cool thing I did today, to have those elements and then make room for the kinds of things we do in Rydor where it's like I'm just gonna make a weird newspaper article about squirrels learning to play the ukulele. And honestly, that's it. I don't know where I'm going with this. Those are just things that are floating around my head. So with that, I'll call it a weekend. Yeah, see you next week, Gwendolyn.